Hey everybody, welcome to the show today. It is just me, and I'm here with special guest Laurel Charleston. We're talking all about makeup, the internet, the future, being cunt, what a cut crease is, still don't know. And we're listening to your wild and crazy voicemails. So I hope you're ready for a good time. Diva up, DL trade down. You know what I mean? Okay.
Oh.
Mom!
When your first choice is a big old bus,
You turn around and boom, you end up with a sloppy second. Oh, diva.
our number is 213-536-9180. Welcome to Sloppy Seconds. It's how you you stupid little you Nestle. It's me, Big Dipper, and this is Sloppy Seconds without Meatball. Boom, boom. I'm joined in the studio by my good friend, a sister of the show. Please make some noise for celebrity makeup artist, futurism artist, trans icon, cutout enthusiast in her fashions, Laurel Charleston.
Yay! Thank you so. Wow, what a lovely intro.
I have one written that's really much nicer. I just got lost.
Do you really?
Yes.
Yeah, go for that one. Let's see. I'm totally kidding. That was very nice.
You're
very
like so
nice.
happy to be here. Love Meatball.
Oh yes. And I'm here specifically to take over Meatball. No, I'm just kidding.
This is the intro I wrote. An icon of makeup artistry. She paints all of the famous pop stars with viral fashion looks. A good friend of the pod. Back for her second go-round. It's Laurel Charleston.
You're very sweet. That's very sweet. Thank you so much.
Thanks for
that.
being here. Yeah, elephant in the room. And that's not a fat joke. Meatball is not here with us
My name's Laurel
today.
Charleston.
Sorry.
No.
But here's Laurel. Welcome.
Yes. Shout out to Meatball. Love
Love
her so much. I feel
Meatball.
so bad she can't be here today. I know she's going through a lot right now, but love her so much. She's here in spirit. I feel her spirit in this
Yes.
room.
And listen, when the mug is like this, you have to record.
Hello. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, goodbye.
I feel like this is I feel like Chapel Roan
Sure.
right now.
Roman.
Chapel Rowan.
Chapel Roman's Revenge.
I heard
That's what I said.
I heard someone non-ironically keep referring to her as Chapel Rowan. And that just
It's stuck.
that just itches like something so specific in my brain. I just keep saying it. Chapel Roanoke. Her full name.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Have you and her had any chit chats or DMs?
No, I'm like, a lot of her team and I are mutuals on IG. They're like all brilliant artists. The stylist, hair artist, but I will say her makeup artists, two of the people that painted her are really close friends of mine
nice.
that I love. Sterling Toll, trans diva icon in New York City. She painted her for the NPR show. The Tiny Desk with the white face and the blue eye, iconic.
Yes.
And then Andrew Darling, who's been, I was going to say slaughtering her makeup, but like in the best way.
Slaughtering!
Like killing her makeup, but like
Yeah.
even more than that, has
Yeah.
been hitting it out of the park. Has just been so iconic for a while now. So they've just been killing it.
This was kind of a surprise to me that it really does go down in the DMs, even with
Yes.
super famous people.
Yes, and you cannot. Let me look at the camera. You cannot be afraid to take your shot. You throughout your whole life, you will have 1,000 people telling you no. Don't be one of them. Let someone else tell you no. Don't be the person to tell yourself
Go
no.
off, Laurel.
I'm sorry. I just had to start with a little bit of that because it's so true. And even with the Doja thing, right? Like
Yeah.
that was just a DM that she followed me one day. But then I was like, you know what? I have absolutely nothing to lose. She wasn't following me yesterday. Let me just shoot a DM. But the same thing, it really does happen in the DMs. And social media is also as serious as you want to take it. And if it's just a fun thing for you, it's a fun thing for you. But also if you want to take it seriously and shoot your shot and exhibit a brilliant, fabulous portfolio of your best work, things can happen for you.
It is so funny to hear about. I feel like we were just talking about Wicked in the other room, but like it is so funny that press tour is like the never-ending press tour. They've been all over the world.
Oh, girl, and what about Wicked 2? When this press tour ends, the next one
is
is
gonna
good.
be good. But like I saw something where Ariana was like, "Oh yeah," and we like send memes and like post back and forth. It's like I forget that even when you have like millions upon millions of followers, like Rihanna is always like on the internet trolling people in people's DMs. Like that's great. I know a lot of people have like Finsta accounts
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
But it really like I guess that was like shocking to me that you can like get real legitimate connections and work off of DMs.
Yes, even Melanie, her hairstylist, William Scott Blair, who's a hair icon who's been doing her hair for 11 years, she found him on Instagram.
I love that.
And then also I don't know how they got connected, but I just have to point out a trans icon whenever we talk about one or around one. Ariana Grande is like basically like main hair artist right now. Alex is a trans icon and she just slays. I just have to give her flowers. She is so incredible. She's been doing her hair, I think, for like 8 years right now. And like there's so many trans icons in beauty and celebrity beauty
to keep
specifically.
To keep that blonde, the blonde.
Well, I think that might have been the hair artist for the movie. I'm not too sure, but regardless, she's incredible.
She's been upkeeping it since they shot.
Girl, and she's gonna have to upkeep that for a hot second. Minute. Yeah.
No, but it for people who don't know, you casually mentioning Melanie Martinez, you have been essentially on a world tour with it was the Portals tour, and then it was the. And then didn't she do like an anthology tour?
Yes. So she basically did her like Eras tour called the Trilogy Tour.
Yes.
She created 3 albums over the last 10 years that are this whole kind of creative journey with this one character named Crybaby. And she goes through these 2 album cycles.
Crybaby was like half and half, right?
Yes. Okay. And then at the end of the second album, the character dies. And the beginning of the third album, Portals, she's reincarnated because it's like this whole like past life regression therapy or transgression. Rants? One of those.
Trans.
Where's
the trans button?
Where? Oh my God. Could you imagine? I brought it.
Trans.
I'm right here, baby.
Well, it's a little.
Oh, you want to push that button? Reel it back, Laurel. Reel it back. The Portals tour.
This is my professional cut.
Yes. PR? Where's my PR? That's really funny too.
What?
I will say the one thing working over the last couple of years, now working with larger artists.
Yes.
The biggest misconception I see is people like, where's their PR person? Where's their PR person? Girl, these people, I think a lot of people assume that there's like a PR person who's doing someone's socials for them, but most of the time it's just them. Like, there's no PR person.
It's like you can see when the post they had to post about the album or the brand collaboration or the film is like, you can see when it hits their timeline. But other than that, like these people are playing on their phones.
Yeah. And they're just living their life, you know, just like you and me, just like you.
But just like the both of us. When you did this tour, you not only had to paint her for the concert, but in the Portals tour, she plays this character, so you painted a mask.
Yes.
Every night.
Every single night.
Different.
Every single night was different. That was my goal from the beginning. I think for the first Portals tour, there were 2 international tours. And before this, I didn't do a tour. So it was all new to me.
Right. You got thrown into the deep end.
Well, yeah. It was.
Well, yeah.
Well, yes. Down.
Down, diva.
It was, to this date, it's one of the most wonderfully creative and one of the most challenging jobs of my life.
Yeah.
And what frustrated me to no end is I would go on these tours and I'd come back to New York and I'd have a friend be like, how was it to just get paid to just travel the world and vacation? And I want to slap the absolute crap out of them.
Go off.
Because it is the hardest job in the world. Like for makeup, like in my opinion, like it's a blessing. I'm so grateful. I'm so lucky to be in that position. It is a godsend that I even got this opportunity. But it is so difficult. It's really, really long days. It's so much travel. And for the mask, like I'd be working on that all day. Like I'd wake up in a venue, go find my space in the new venue, and then I'd just be working on the mask from like 10 a.m. to like 6 p.m. And because it's a silicone mask, when I first got the job, I didn't know I was going to be painting a mask.
Right.
I showed up at the dress rehearsals and, so much happened so quickly. So you have to be flexible. And then I got this and it was a great opportunity because it was a blank canvas. I could just do so much, you know?
For people who don't get the reference, and I want to hear the rest of the story, is like, if you look at both Melanie's page or your page, like you sometimes do like spider webs. I saw like a spiral of like, it looked like you glued pearls on the face, like crazy eyes that like, what do you call that? Like, is it like new metal where it almost looks like what someone would call a tribal tattoo with all the different spiky shapes.
Oh,
curves.
like yes,
What's
like
that
the,
aesthetic?
like just like graphic liner,
Yes.
tattoo, tribal, I guess
Yes.
liners.
But
aesthetic,
you're doing that, then you're doing color looks, then you're doing blue garage door. Like
Hello.
it's always different on
Thank
the
you.
mask, which is incredible. So, but it wasn't just regular makeup application, right?
No, and she's so incredible and so creative. There was so much imagery to pull from to bring into these masks.
Sure.
And every day was such a really authentic and beautiful collaboration, not just between Melanie, but myself, the hair artist Will, the wardrobe artist Leslie, all of us. It's like it was so fun to wake up and be like, in a new city, it's like we'd be like, okay, what can we take from the city? Like, are we in a city with like a lot of water? Is there like I remember one time on the US tour for Portals, we're like, there's an aquarium nearby, let's go check out the aquarium. And then we got some cool inspo and we're able to pull that into the look for that night. Hello. And I brought the
And did you also do the dancers?
I taught them very diligently how to do these looks, and they were phenomenal. I love all those babes so much. Sometimes I would tweak. I'd see something they'd want to get a little creative and do a double line. I'd be like,
scale it back.
Listen, I love you. We're gonna have to scale that one back.
Okay, do you remember the Beyonce documentary? I forget which one it is. I think it's the HBO one. I think it's. Does she have a documentary called Life is Beautiful? It's the one where she's mostly sitting on the chair in the braids, and she had like just given birth to Blue Ivy.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen.
But they're reflecting back on one of her big tours, and there's this footage of Frank Gadsden. You know who that is? He like choreographed for her for a long time. Old. And when she did the Renaissance tour, there was like something that went viral of her like floating above in that rig at the end. You know where her body's like hanging stiff.
Say my name. Say my name.
She goes. Is that Frank? You remember, okay, so that was Frank.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Frank Ocean. I didn't know.
It was like her old choreographer.
Fab. That's so sweet.
And then Ashley was like her lead dancer. She was always sort of to the left. She had like beautiful kind of red hair. There's a music video that Beyonce directed that like stars Ashley in a wedding dress.
So cute.
Anyways, there's this whole back and forth with Frank like yelling at Ashley because she didn't wear a stupid fedora. One of the dancers' looks was like, probably like a shimmering rhinestone blazer, nothing underneath, and a fedora.
Yeah.
And he was like, why didn't you have your hat on at the dress rehearsal? And she was like, because it keeps falling off. Like, the hat, what am I supposed to do? And he goes, yeah, what are you supposed to do? That's your responsibility. Tape it, glue it, get a staple gun, attach it to your head, and make it happen. And it's sort of like, it's a little bit up.
Yeah.
But it is also the kind of thing of like the resourcefulness that you have to have, especially as like an ensemble member supporting someone.
Yeah.
I always like loved that moment because I remember being like, that's crazy. They should have talked about elastic straps with the wardrobe team so that all the dancers could like adhere the hat.
Well, I have two thoughts about that. You know what I mean?
But also he was like teaching her the lesson of like, oh, so you're just going to like not say anything and skip the hat rather than talk about it with the group.
Yeah, like you got to run to someone and be like, this isn't working.
Logistics.
Yes, and let me tell you, there's just so much pressure in those environments where you're like, there's about to be 15,000 people out there that are going to be seeing everything with a magnifying glass, and you want to give them the best
filming
opportunity.
it.
And it's like also for these kids, and that's what I love about Melanie's audiences, they were all these beautiful, diverse queer and trans kids. And we'd go to Poland, we'd go to Mexico, and all the little trans kids would come out and they would just be in this room, in this concert, all done up. And I would like be at the front barricade and I'd see a little trans girl and we'd like connect and talk. And then I'd see her the next tour. And I'd be like, hey, and like, it was just so beautiful. So, you want to do your best. So the pressure is always really, really high. But also at the end of the day, that's like wardrobe or hair. That's like someone else's responsibility to do. But I do agree. The squeaky wheel gets the grease.
There you go.
And you got to squeak. You got to squeak. Because these wheels are getting pushed out on stage in about 5 seconds. You know what I mean? Yeah, I get that.
One of my favorite things that I remember you saying, I think we were having dinner right before you left, and you got some like text that the quick change between like the mask part and the unmasked part has now been reduced to like 90 seconds. Okay. And you were like, I have to beat her. Like she's wearing the thing, so the makeup is going to be like ruined. And then I have to like beat her face in 90 seconds for the next thing.
Yeah. So further context. So for the actual trilogy tour show, she performed it like in like a front to back. So
Yeah.
the first third was the first album, second third was the second album, and at the end of the second album, there's
She
a quick
puts
change. So I would do her glam every day too. So I would do for the trilogy tour, I would do her beautiful glam for the first 2 albums, which is so
Yes.
fun, and then I do the complete opposite, crazy creative makeup for the portals. So then we would do it on a mask. I'd do it the whole day, and I'd have the mask ready, and we got it down to I think like 5 minutes, which was still great, and we never were late.
Tell them.
We never.
Tell them.
We were. That was so phenomenal. And the hardest thing, the pressure is so high. And there's like this part where they're out, like the dancers are doing a ballet during that quick change. And when the ballet ends, I'm like painting her lip. And I would always be like, I always want to finish the lip by the time the ballet ended. And sometimes like, ballet's ending and I'm just starting this lip. So like that type of pressure. But so what I would do was, and in like 3 minutes, I would paint this to this pink on her. I would kind of blend it down her neck. I paint a different lip, which was shorter.
Oh, right, because the bottom
and lower.
Yes.
So it was like a 3D illusion because you're going down around and you want it to be straight, which is really hard to do. And I think I did that at like 30 seconds every night, which is really stressful. And then we encountered a different issue with the quick change because before in the portal store, she'd wear a pink bodysuit.
Right.
So I came up with the concept to make a pink glitter mixture that would reflect pink that we could apply very quickly. So then I would slather the pink glitter mixed with a specific product that I found, and it would just seep into her skin, and then she would reflect pink for the whole show. And you couldn't tell where the pink started and the pink stopped on the neck and the mask. So then she could just be her hot, beautiful self. And so that's how we were able to do it. And then the wig artist would just be able to pop it on and off like a Lego because of a mechanism he developed with the mask maker, and it was crazy. And we look back at it already, and we're like, we can't believe we did that. And
That's incredible.
It was really beautiful every night. Yeah,
it's really that, and to think that you were able to make that magic happen for all of the people coming to see the tour.
Yeah, and
like
it's also
night after night.
Just a testament to her, relentless passion to her vision, which is really beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back after this with Laurel Charleston.
Okay.
It's gift giving time.
It's great when you can get someone a gift that they wouldn't necessarily get for themselves. And it's even better when it's a little bit of luxury, that they don't know that they're missing out on, but you do because you're clued in.
And for quality gifts at an affordable price, the go-to is Quince.
I love Quince because you can absolutely guarantee quality.
Mm-hmm.
Online shopping can be intimidating because it's hard to determine, is that gonna be a good shirt or did they just price it like a quality item? If you can't actually feel it and, see the fit or anything like that, you get a little apprehensive. But the amazing thing about Quince is their entire jush is that it is high quality luxury items at an affordable price.
Yeah, so I got the linen shirt jacket in green.
Oh, okay.
And I have never gotten so many compliments on something that is just it's just like such a clean, basic piece that I can just wear over anything. And when I was going through shopping everything, I was like, oh, I would wear a lot of this stuff. Just total basics. But this thing feels high quality. It's right here. I just wore it last night.
And Quince lets you treat your loved ones and yourself to everyday luxury on their site. So check it out for ultimate gifts. They've got 14 karat gold jewelry, Italian leather handbags, and European linen sets.
Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. And Quince's Mongolian cashmere sweaters start at only $50.
They love those Mongolian cashmere sweaters. They really, they do those well. And by partnering directly with top factories, cutting out the cost of the middleman, Quince passes their savings on to you. And they only work with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, and they use premium fabrics and finishes for that luxury feel in every piece.
Gift luxury this holiday season without the luxury price tag. Go to quince.com/sloppy for 365-day returns, plus free shipping on your order.
That's QUINCE.com/sloppy to get free shipping and 365-day returns.
Quince.com/sloppy.
And we're back. Laurel, you are very much a hustler. You have always created a path for yourself, not relying on anybody else, but being like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to work in music. I'm going to work in, the drag world. I'm going to work in the makeup world. You always are like inventing something new. My sort of without Meatball here, all these questions are heavy because I'm always so interested in stuff. I'm so interested in process. So I hear about a lot of creative people that get like plopped into high pressure work situations. Maybe a lot of time that's because of someone that they know, like a nepotism scenario.
Hello.
Or that they happen to be available and someone was like, okay, you're doing the styling on this thing, show up at this time. That's like a sink or swim sort of moment. So I'm curious, in all of those spaces you've been in, have you seen people flop? And what is the reason why the flop happens? Because I think in the entertainment world, this happens. Like, you'll do your regular for a long time, and then all of a sudden you get a phone call, and you're like, oh, it's a high-pressure gig. Am I going to be able to handle this?
I will say most of the most of the experiences I had where someone was thrown into a situation and they were sink or swim was really when I was that person. Like when I joined both of the major teams I've worked on, I was kind of like the newer person. There was one experience that I heard of a friend that just was kind of like they weren't the most flexible in the moment. And I think were very rigid in what they wanted to bring to the table.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work out. And the road kind of ended right there.
Because flexibility is so key, especially if you're the newbie. It's
the key.
If you're the new one on the block and there are 8 people sort of leading the creative, you're like, oh, well, there's the director, but then there's like the fashion director, and then there's the artist, and then there's the record label, and then the brand. It's like all of those people have a say, so you have to work within your parameters.
When I tell you, this for the most recent tour, we were both able, the hair and makeup artists were able to bring an assistant.
Oh, and you brought an assistant.
We both brought trans icons, Veli Sadiku and Zenobia Teague, Zenobia, the hair artist, Veli, the makeup artist. And I told V, I was like, day one, I was like, this job is extremely difficult, and I promise you only 10% of the job is makeup. The other 90% is just handling the stress and all these other things that come up that have nothing to deal with makeup. And at the end of the gig, she's like, girl, you were right? She's like, girl, you were so, I didn't know what the you were talking about, but you were so right. And it's just, it as a makeup artist and as a trans woman where your art is so inherently tied to who you are, even as a queer person, some queer makeup artist, and just as makeup in general, your canvas is your body and you're transforming other people. It's, to my opinion, the most personal, deep, personal, intimate art form that there is. So it's so obvious to see that, like, of course, like, it's personal to you, and it's when you get into these situations like where you're work for hire and you forget that it's a service job, you have to strip yourself of any and all ego. And if they want to take a left turn, you got to hop on that motorcycle and take a quick left turn with them, or else you're going to be left behind. And you just have to be like, yes, and you have to be flexible, and you open up yourself to seeing the magic in that, and then you push yourselves. And I love a confine. I love a brief.
Same.
I love a box. Put me in that box, and then it's my job to find the creativity within those confines.
I totally agree.
It's like you crack a code. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I love a good code.
It's an escape room.
It's an escape room that I can never get out of.
By career.
Escape
room.
But you really just have. But it's just like, you know. I think that's the best way I can put it.
Yeah, the thought of sort of like showing up and not taking the cue from the room, trying to prove yourself, or like show up, guns blazing on the table, and you're like, here I am, and you're
Girl.
like, and here you won't be any longer. Like, you can't take the lead without sussing out what the room is like. And from everything I hear about you, based on your own stories, like, you just keep going back to the same clients because they keep bringing you back, meaning you're good.
Thank you. Well, I hope so. And it's always my goal to, I don't know, like, I think makeup is so cool because I have so many different goals when I have someone sit in my chair, but I think the most basic goals I always come back to is I want them to feel way more comfortable and confident when they leave my chair. But also, I want whatever I do on them to be an extension of their expression.
Right.
And if they keep coming back to that, that means that there's just more that they want to express together. And I think that's so beautiful. And if I can just be a tool to pull that out of them, I think that's just the dream. You know what I mean?
And the way to express yourself through makeup continues to change.
Yes. Yes.
I feel like, 5 years ago, I was like, okay, I understand that makeup exists and there's eyeshadow and lipstick and blush and foundation and there you have it. And there's eyeliner and like whatever. And now I feel like people's faces haven't changed, but somehow the canvas continues to be crazy. Like now you can put blush and a little contour on the tip of your nose, and that's just like a regular thing. And like, look at how much real estate you are using on both your lids and your brow. You know what I mean? Other people will be like, that's insane. You can't put color out here.
Oh, watch me.
Right. Yeah. And like even the delicate, we were just talking about Wicked, and I feel like Ariana, and then I know Hunter Schafer is not the makeup artist, but on Euphoria.
Oh, yeah.
Those sort of like...
Oh, Donnie Davy.
Yes. Yeah. So those like lined shapes. And then on Gaga and Ariana in the Rain On Me video, those two moments, both Euphoria and those moments, I think really pushed those lines into mainstream where people are like, well, you could just draw like a little picture right up here.
Yes.
And that's part of it. So there's like no rules. It's always changing.
And my goal in life is just to show people that there are so many colors in the crayon box to choose from and that you can express yourself wildly one day and more reserved the next day.
Demurely the next.
Hello. And that was one of my favorite things that I did in Paris with, Doja was that was a moment where I really, to this day, I still can't even believe that she wanted to express herself that vibrantly. And I think that was really cool because it also showed a lot of other people that you can do this too for no other reason other than you want to express yourself. You know what I mean? And now, like, so many people are just, and also it links with it being more accessible, right? There's so many more makeup products today, so many different brands. It's literally couldn't be at your fingertips, closer to your fingertips today than ever. But I think it's really beautiful. And also, always looking to the younger generation, the younger kids that would come out at these concerts over the last 2 years are so hyper expressive. And like I would do a makeup on the mask one night and the next day there'd be 30 kids in that makeup. And they're incredible. These kids are so talented. Yeah. And I'm so excited for the future of these kids too. Like seeing how vibrant and expressive these kids are today, these queer and trans kids are today. I can't wait to see what it's going to look like in 3 years from now. Because even, 5 years ago, it wasn't like this.
No.
And you're seeing so much more of it today, and I love it. And I agree. Like Donnie Davy, icon. Yeah, she really pushed the needle, especially for accessible, wildly creative looks.
And it's not like, oh, this doesn't have to be Halloween or the Met Gala. This can be third period biology.
Hello. No, literally. Oh my God. There's this kid, Koi Star, COI Star, who like wear mutuals and they've like done makeup looks inspired by me. And I'm so honored. They're so sweet. They're like in high school and they just do these crazy looks to go to school. And I'm like, I wish I had your confidence. Like when I was in school and your creativity and like I didn't start this makeup stuff until I was in college and I wasn't even doing that to take it seriously. And here you are like 8 years ahead of me doing brilliant work. Koi, if you're hearing this, so much love to you. But these kids are really incredible.
Do you have optimism for the future?
Well, generally I would say no. We're generally no.
Yes, I agree.
I'm just very optimistic for young queer. I love. I think progress socially is always moving forward, even though it feels like it isn't. So, like, yes, I'm hopeful. I get hopeful when I see younger trans kids, and I'm like, wow, you're so vibrant, and you know yourself, and so many kids today really know who they are at such an early age, and because the language and everything is so much more accessible, and I love that so much, and it inspires me. But as a whole, with this planet and this country and what's happening in the Middle East, the genocide we've just been so helplessly watching, and everything, and being complicit as an American, and our tax dollars paying for it, I feel so helpless for the future of this world. And now what happened yesterday in South Korea, and it's happening right now, where the conservative president, declared martial law, and we have Trump coming into office, and all these things. It feels very hopeless. So I'm trying to maintain hope, but at the same time, we just have to really be real and not be delusional, and have to be in touch with what's falling apart around us. But I'm trying, girl, and I'm trying to. And as an artist, I feel like my job is to make art influenced by what's going on around us, and to be expressive, because I'm in a very privileged position where I can be a full-time artist, and I really want to make art where people can really attach onto in these difficult moments.
I completely agree. And I think that the idea of like, we feel like we have more power than we've ever had before, because you can put together a change.org petition, and you can make a moment go viral, and you can get a bunch of celebrities to sing Imagine during a pandemic, right? So you feel like, the internet is bringing us together, but then there's that helplessness of like, a lot of politicians just say what you want us, or what they think we want to hear, and then do whatever the they want to do.
Yes.
And then the other thing where we get backed into a corner to participate in this like insane capitalism that's run by a couple monopolies. And it's like, oh, so I pay so much extra money for the sustainably sourced thing, or I can pay rent and put a little in my savings and order this thing off Amazon.
And that's a design
an
of the
impossible
system.
choice.
It's a design of the system. It's
to keep us dumb.
It's to keep the poor people poor, the poor people less educated, it's to keep you less connected to the rest of the world. You go to Europe, and the first 20 channels are international news stations. Al Jazeera, Middle Eastern news station, right there, Channel 6 or whatever.
Right.
And in America, you hardly get news that cover both sides of the podium or the coin in America, in American news. And we, in America, like, being able to travel, I think I've gone to 30 countries over the last 2 years, which is so crazy to say out loud. I still can't believe it. But it really radicalized me in so many ways. When I go to Australia, Korea, Japan, Belgium, I'm like, where are your cops? Where are your cops? What, you don't just have 100 cops patrolling your street at any given moment?
Right.
And all of your police stations, and you don't have cops everywhere? I couldn't find a cop in Japan. I couldn't find a cop in Australia. And it's like, or in Ireland, and the cops don't even have guns in Ireland because and it's like, it can be done differently, and it's being demonstrated around us constantly.
We're being blinded.
We are in a fascist police state. That's what that means to have cops everywhere, and no other country really has this issue, and no other. It's like, and it's just so hard for Americans because no one else gets these opportunities, and no one else gets to travel and see all these things and shed that fourth wall, because we're inundated with so many personal issues that we constantly have to solve every single day. But girl, it's a lot. It's a lot out here.
The people, add fuel to the fire. A lot of the people who do get that opportunity are the trickle down of that economy is like they're being paid to do all of that by one of the monopoly holders.
And a lot of those people, and a lot of people that come up in life and they jump classes, they abandon their previous morals. And can I talk about one specific person, get a little political up in here? The transgender congresswoman, that is an example of that to me, right?
Yes.
She
never jumped class. She was always, Sarah McBride was born
I didn't know
fairly
this.
Privileged in Delaware.
I didn't know this. Okay. But this is what I'm talking about, where class supersedes community.
Yes.
And there's an illusion that community will solve everything. Oh, a trans woman's in Congress. Yay. She's a Zionist. She's pro-genocide. And when she was confronted with a transphobic bathroom bill in Congress, she immediately conceded and said, I will do it. I'll use the men's bathroom. Don't worry about this. When she has, first of all, and then in her statement she released, she said, I'm not here to argue bathroom bills. I'm here for the people of Delaware. Bitch, are there no trans people in Delaware?
Right.
Are you kidding me? So once again, she is in a class where she doesn't have to worry about that issue. She's never going to be affected by that issue. So her identity doesn't really matter here because she's in a different class. You know what I mean? And so she has her own personal restroom in her office.
All the people arguing about that bill do.
And then 2 days later, that transphobic congresswoman who put that first bill forward is now put together another bill for all federal property in America. So it's like, you had an opportunity to protest, to stand up for trans people all across this country, but now you you might have set a precedent where it's like, no, like, see, like you conceded. So maybe they see that other people can concede too. But once again, it's not her fault. It's not her fault at all. I'm sorry that that's even happening to her as a trans woman.
Right.
But also, you're quite literally the only person privileged enough to be in that space from the community to stand up for us.
And then it's also like the strategy of like, oh, well, I was home with my family for Thanksgiving, and my mom was like, she was like, did you know that trans people like make up less than 1% of the population?
Yes!
And I was like, yeah, diva. Like, I was
And
like,
it's 30% of your news!
yes, exactly.
And it's 30% of your news!
And I said this to her. I was like, yeah, the way you interact with trans people is how the majority of the country does. Not knowing anybody trans. Like,
No,
you know what I mean?
yes.
I was like, large
Yes.
amount of my friend
Yes.
list happens to be trans,
Yes.
but how you're living your life is how most people interact. Like,
Name
or-
2 trans people you know personally.
Right, exactly.
No, and that's what I mean. Like, we're all so dumb. Like, Americans, we're so dumb. Like, and you believe it and you buy it, and like, you are being deluded. You buy into media and to news
Yes.
where 30% of your news coverage is about trans people when we're less than 1% of the population, and none of the money is going to us. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
it's all it is like a chess piece and a so I
but
that
trans
being
people in
said-
prisons are getting free surgery.
Well, shout out to them. And
I
all
might
the
just have to go to
SRS.
jail soon, girl.
All the SRS in the state lockup.
Who knew?
Well, and that I guess why I'm bringing it back is like I understand the strategy. If like Sarah McBride and her campaign people or her like chief of staff were like, let's say, why do you care about my transness? I'm here to fight for the people. I agree with you as a missed opportunity to stand up for her own personal rights and the rights of her community.
Yeah.
But I do understand the strategy of like, if we start saying, why are you guys so focused on less than 1% of the population? We've got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
The sort of like hot button talking issue of everything being related to a trans identity, which they figure out a way to draw everything back. Military conversations, drag conversations, early childhood
I'm like-
education.
I mean, all shout
You're
out
like,
to those
can
people.
I put
but
on a
what
statement
trans
lip?
people are dying
Leave
to
me
be
alone.
Yeah, what trans people are dying to be in the military right now?
Well,
and like, I mean,
some.
I know some of them, and good for you, good for you. But also, like,
and good for you.
I mean, but also, like, you take trans people less than 1% of the population, and then you take trans people in the military less than 1% of that population.
Yes, exactly.
So, like, that taking up such media time is so. It's
How about
like,
Flint? How about Flint has clean water?
girl, that's what I'm talking about. Like, you have to pay for gas, trash, water, electric, Wi-Fi. You go to Mexico City in any public park, Wi-Fi is free. There's free Wi-Fi in Mexico City. It's a public thing because they see it as a right. And I'm like, oh, it is that easy and it is that simple. And it's being demonstrated around us constantly. But we all have horse blinders on, which again is a design from everything to, we have so much to worry about all the time. But I'm just doing makeup.
Not to all of a sudden become the Joe Rogan.
No, I know, girl, I know. I'm like, wait,
but we
makeup.
get like this.
Yeah.
We're like, let's just get a coffee and go for a walk, and then we're screaming at each other in the park.
And we're like, we got to bring it down, girl. How are we going to bring this down? No,
All
no,
right, well,
I know.
Let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about fun stuff.
I love fun stuff.